Welcome to the Answer is Yes podcast, where we interview some of the most interesting people that have said yes to opportunities in their life. We hope that through these stories, you can learn to create your own destiny by saying yes along the way. Join us as we explore the new series covering topics such as passion, integrity, and hard work. I'm your host, Jim Riley, and I hope you enjoy these interviews as much as I do. I believe that everyone has an important message worth hearing. Hello, welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Sometimes, when you're out and about, you see somebody and they just resonate with you. And oftentimes it's hard to resonate with somebody via email or a bio or a black and white or a color picture. I will tell you that I've got Shelly Lefkoe on the line, and she absolutely resonated me with her smile, her friendly demeanor, and the content on her bio. So Shelly, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me.
And I know that this is not a video recording, so they're going to have to go to your website to see your beautiful smile and learn more about you.
Thank you, sweetie.
Yeah. So, one of the first things that I saw in your bio was where it said, "What is a limiting belief?" And I want that to kind of resonate out there because I want to come back to it. But would you mind taking us back, your career and what got you to where you're at today? And I don't care if you want to go all the way back to childhood when you were, selling gum on the playground or whatever it was, but please tell us your success story.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you should say that. Go back to childhood. I don't think I've ever said this on a podcast in my whole life, but when I was 3.5 years old, I was on a TV show called Juvenile Jury.
Okay.
And I'm going back. I'm not going to tell you how far I'm going back, but a long time. And we used to solve problems for people. So for kids.
Yeah.
So kids would come on and say, my parents won't let me do whatever. And we would give our advice. And I was the youngest on the panel and I was on, it's network television. It was on CBS for 3 years. And so when I look back, when you just said that, I thought, wow, that's kind of what I'm doing today. So that was the start.
That's pretty random. I don't remember that story, that show either.
No, totally random. No, you were not probably alive when that show was on. But how my career really started was my husband was my late husband, who was on a spiritual intellectual journey to discover why people knew what to do and didn't do it. So we all know that if we exercise and eat well, we'll be healthier and live longer and feel better. But a lot of people don't do that.
That's right.
We know going into a relationship that it's wrong and we go in anyway. So he was on a plane going to California to pitch a client to hire us. And at the time we were doing consulting, and he started journaling about his own life. Why is it that things don't turn out for me? And long story short, he says he channeled, and I think he's being very humble, as my husband was, because he was a genius. But he channeled this process, downloaded this process, and he went and he did it on the people who were hiring him, and they hired him. They had 5 other candidates. They didn't even look at them. And he came home and he said, I want to show you what I just came up with. And he sat with a friend, and she wanted to get married and meet somebody. And he said to her, what do you believe deep down inside? What are your beliefs? And she said, marriage is suffocating. Men only blah, blah, blah. Men are selfish. Men only want one thing. If I get married, I have to give up myself. And I sat there and I watched him pick one of those beliefs. Now, this is 30 years ago, Jim, where I used to say to people, they'd say, what do you do? I'm in the belief business. What do you mean? I help people eliminate beliefs. What do you mean beliefs? Like religious beliefs? People didn't know what beliefs were. And they still don't. And I'm going to tell you in a minute what a belief is. But now everybody's talking about beliefs because people know that you can't it's very hard, not can't, but it's very hard to move forward in life if you have beliefs in the way. And we'll talk a little bit more about that.
Right.
But going back to my moment. So I watched him do the process with her, and a belief disappeared. And I don't mean like airy fairy woo woo. My husband and I are very substantive people. The belief went away. And I was sitting on the chair, and I'll never forget it. I had this huge explosion of, that's what I'm on this planet to do.
Wow.
And I breathed it in, and it was mine. And I've been doing it ever since.
Wow.
So that's my story. And the say yes piece of the story, just to add that, 6 years ago, my husband, now I did the sessions, right? I'm the session girl.
Mm-hmm.
I do the speaking. My husband creates the processes, runs the business, I did not know the difference, Jim, between a balance sheet and a P&L.
Oh, okay.
I never wanted to run a business. I don't know anything about running a business. It was never anything that attracted me. I was an entrepreneur. I owned my own business, but I didn't run it. When he died 6 years ago, I had to sit there and go, what am I going to do? I can't walk away from this because it's my heart, and it's my husband's legacy. It's our legacy. I can't walk away. So I got to say yes. And then get rid of whatever beliefs I have in the way of running the business.
Right.
And last year we had the best year we've had in years and years and years and years.
That's awesome. Incredible. I didn't even think about it when I first started talking to you. Back in 1986, I was in high school. I had listened to Mark Victor Hansen give a speech. And as part of that, he said, what you believe is what you will achieve. And I've lived by that ever since. Matter of fact, just because you've got me on Zoom, this is the cassette tape I got.
I love it. That's fabulous.
How to achieve total prosperity.
I have to tell Jack. So I'm very close friends with Jack Canfield and his partner. So I'll tell Jack that you did that. That's hilarious.
Well, because we're just chatting now, one of the, not the biggest disappointments of my life, but about 8 months ago, Mark had a book come out with his wife, and they were doing the speaking tour to promote the book and podcast tour. And I had scheduled to have them on my show. And for some reason, whether it was them or me, we were having technical difficulties on the Zoom, and I never got the interview. So for me, that's going to be the interview that got away if I don't get it again. But when we talk about beliefs, and like I said, I've lived this way since 1986, and I was only just under 18 at the time. It's like I don't know any other way, but a lot of people just don't understand how important their own belief system can be. I'd love to have you talk a little bit about that and how people get into that mindset and realize the strength of their own mind and what they're willing to do.
Yeah. I'm going to give your listeners something to really think about. So the first thing is, a belief is a statement about reality that you believe is the truth. So when people say belief systems, I don't know what that means or where that came from, but it's a belief. You believe, if you believe dogs are dangerous and a dog comes into the room, you will feel fear.
Yeah.
If you believe dogs are dangerous, your behavior you will not pet the dog, right? If you believe people can't be trusted and you're an entrepreneur, you're not going to trust people and you're going to find yourself doing everything yourself. So our beliefs determine our behavior, our emotions, and ultimately our reality. What shows us? If you believe life is hard, you're going to have a hard life.
Yeah.
And it's not woo-woo. If you believe life is hard, you're going to expect things to be hard. You're going to work hard. You're going to do things consistent with that belief. So we come into this world and we don't know anything about ourselves, life, or people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And depending on what happens when you show up, who's there? Mom and dad, mom and mom, dad and dad, just mom, whatever your parental situation is. And you see the world through your eyes. And I'm saying this, it's not going to be powerful like eliminating a belief, But I want people to I think the belief business is getting a bad rap because people say, write your belief on a piece of paper and burn it, or just do affirmations every day and stand in front of a mirror going, I'm good enough, I'm good enough, I'm good enough. And I think the only person who has to do that is somebody who believes they're not. And saying that is not going to affirmations generally don't get rid of beliefs, in my experience. And they may for people. So, whatever works for you. But I'm going to give you something to think about. So you come into this world, and every child alive wants three things. I have clients in Uganda. I have a client I'm working with now in Kuwait. And I ask them, what do your kids want? Affection, attention, and acknowledgement. And then I say, what's the one word question every child asks all day long? And the answer is, why? Why can't I live up to my parents' expectations? Why are they criticizing me? Why can't I do what they want? Well, I guess I'm not good enough. Why are my parents always busy and not working and looking at their iPhones when they're talking to me? Well, in those days, there weren't iPhones. But why am I not getting attention? Well, I guess I'm not important. Why did they yell? Now, listen, everybody, all the business people, listen to this because this is really gold. Why do I get yelled at every time I make a mistake or fail? Well, I guess mistakes and failures are bad. So that's how beliefs get formed. Mm-hmm. Now, you can have evidence. You could read every business book that tells you why mistakes and failures are the most important thing you could do to be successful. And you still won't do it because, and here's the key, we think that we see our beliefs in the world. And it is impossible to not believe something you think you saw.
Wow. Yeah.
I saw I'm not good enough. And when I say to people every day for 30 years, did you ever see I'm not good enough? Everybody says yes. Now, we're not on video, but if you look at something in your room, everybody listening, just look at something in your room. Does it have a color, shape, and location? Anything you could see has a color, shape, and location. You cannot see I'm not good enough. You can see your father criticizing you. You could see getting F's in school. You can see failing a test. You could see your mother saying, what's wrong with you? You could even see a parent saying, you're not good enough. Even if they said it, you see them saying it, but you don't see that it's true. Mm-hmm. So our beliefs live with us because we think we saw them. And in our process, that's only one step, of course, but you have to we start with a pattern, procrastination. Underlying procrastination is 10 or 11 beliefs and 3 conditionings, which are fear of not living up to an expectation, fear of criticism and judgment, and fear associated with rejection. And we have a little process that we get rid of those 3 things. So beliefs like, I'm not good enough, fear of public speaking, that's another one. 11 beliefs, 3 conditionings, very similar to procrastination. I'm not good enough. I'm not important. Mistakes and failures are bad. If I make a mistake, I'll be rejected. I'm not capable. And here's a big one. What makes me good enough is having other people think well of me. What makes me good enough are my achievements. So we call those survival strategy beliefs. So you form a belief, a core belief, I'm not good enough. I'm not important. Now I have this fist in front of me, this belief. I don't want to go through life like this. So one day somebody acknowledges you for something. It could be if you're the oldest in a big family, taking